Nigeria is redesigning its main currency notes, that is the 200 naira, the 500 naira, and the 1,000 naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele announced this yesterday, saying that the notes would be or have been redesigned because they're about to be released following a request from the federal government. He explained that the decision was reached due to persisting concerns with the management of the current series of banknotes and currency in circulation, particularly those outside the banking system in Nigeria. Currency management has faced several daunting challenges that have continued to grow in scale and sophistication, with attendant and unintended consequences for the integrity of both the CBN and the country. Joining me now is Mukhtar Mohammed. He's the CEO, Asher Dynamic Solutions. Mukhtar, welcome again to Business Edge. Thank you for joining me. Let's start with some of the data we have. So CBN data as of September 2022 shows that 2.73 trillion naira out of the 3.23 trillion naira currency in circulation was outside of the bank vaults of commercial banks in the country and supposedly held by the public. Now, currency in circulation has more than doubled since 2015, moving from 1.46 trillion naira to 3.23 trillion naira. So why is this of a concern to the CBN, the fact that there's so much currency in circulation outside of bank vaults?
Yeah, I think CBN is very concerned about that, especially with the high level of inflation that we experiencing all over the world and also in Nigeria. And so they want to use the monetary policy key, which is more public liquidity, to tackle inflation. And you cannot do this if you don't even know how much of the currency are in the banking space. Most of this currency are not in the banking space. And again, some of this currency are also in the rural area, whereby about 80% of the rural area are not in the banking space. So definitely when you look at that policy, that means you are looking at the economic sense of it, where this want to capture more Nigerians into the banking space. But again, they have come up with a lot of strategy before now. You have the money agents in all the rural area, and they have been licensing other people to begin to make sure that they bring a lot of Nigeria in the banking space. I think this might just be a game changer if they are able to achieve it, but I have my doubt when it comes to that.
So the central bank governor also listed some other challenges, including the worsening shortage of clean and fit banknotes, the increased risk to financial stability, also the increasing ease and risk of counterfeiting. And the CBN has said they've noticed advanced technologies making counterfeiting much easier and better. So is redefining these currency notes in specific, the 200, the 500, the 1,000, is it really the way to solve these issues? Will it get us 50% of the way? What is it going to do for the challenges listed?
The CBN should be able to look at it. If you are just doing 200, 1,000, and 500, if you are saying they are doing counterfeiting, is it that they cannot do counterfeiting with 150? So they need to look at that also and see if it's the technology that is the issue. I don't think it makes sense for you to be bringing that you think there's a lot of counterfeiting, and the best way you can do it to redesign the currency. And so, are you redesigning the currency? Are you going to use same technology that you used previously? You are just changing the design. So that has to do with the security problem with the printing mill. So they need to look into that. About tackling instability in the financial sector, like I just mentioned, that could be also a game changer, because we know that a lot of Nigerians are not in the banking space. And again, this also will help them in really dealing with the exchange rate volatility, because a lot of Naira that are not in the banking space are chasing a lot of dollars that we don't have control over, that are also not in the banking space. So definitely it's going to be a win-win situation for the CBN and the fiscal policy. Like we have always said, the CBN has been one area, the monetary policy has been where we've gotten some gains, because they tend to intervene in areas that are not really their jurisdiction. But again, it's all good for the economy, because we should have been looking at the fiscal side, doing a lot of things while the CBN continue with their monetary policy, because also this policy also will have a security implication going forward, which could also help the government in tackling insecurity, especially banditry and terrorism.
So you mentioned the dollar exchange rates, and I know that's where a lot of Nigerians are focused now, right now, on this conversation. So let's just quickly hold on to that. You talked about the fact that it's going to make it more difficult with the old Naira to chase the scarce dollars that we have. So what do you think this is going to do in terms of the exchange rate, or in terms of the value where you have the Naira against the greenback?
In the short term, we might not see those results. Like I said, CBN have been trying to do all non-monetary policy to tackle the exchange rate volatility. Remember the 5 naira for every dollar you bring in. So they've done a lot, and they are looking at this also because what we've been able to observe, and what CBN have said, is that a lot of Nigerians that are holding the naira that are not in the banking space are the same Nigerians that are changing the naira into dollar and also do not bring this money into the banking space. But I think the security apparatus of government will be the one that will be able to help CBN, CBN in this area and the government in this area, because what we see is that sometimes once this avenue are closed, either by CBN, they begin to look at other means of laundering money in either purchase of assets and that. So definitely what the CBN is doing in one hand, the security agent will also ought to work with in conjunction with the CBN and the banks. That is when we'll be able to achieve what they are trying to achieve. Even if you look at it economically, the only way you can bring down the exchange rate of the dollar and the naira is to get enough supply of the dollar into the system. And then, that would definitely bring demand and supply in economic terms will come to play. But like I said, you and I know that the current exchange rate of the dollar to the naira is artificial, is based on speculation. So once you begin to get people to speculate with your currency, you need to think inwardly, you need to think out of the box. And I think that is what the CBN have just done.
Okay, so Nigerians have about 6 weeks to prepare for the new currency, which is going to be in circulation starting December 15th. But the old currency will continue to be in circulation for some time. But there have been some scenarios painted. If you're on social media, you'll have seen the scenarios. And one of them is this, that on the downside, there is the concern that this could lead to a possible cash shortage if it's not organized properly, and the methods of taking this money in and exchanging it for the new currency notes are not handled the right way. And then consequently, the Naira could still fall, and it'd be a bigger problem in the long run. How likely do you think that scenario is? Is there a potential for that depending on the organization of this new policy?
I don't think so, because what you see is you see the old currency being given back into the system, and if you have an account in the bank, and then you take those old currency and pay it into your account, and then in turn will pay it back to you. And remember that we're beginning to achieve cashless society, and I think that's what the CBN is driving to. So I don't think that should be an issue, because if you want cash in your hand and the CBN is saying, look, well, the bank are saying, look, we don't have enough cash, then you have to do it electronically. So definitely, I don't see that as an issue, because the currency we are talking about here is not a currency that we have no control in. Like the CBN governor jokingly said, he said, you people have crucified me for printing more naira. So if I have to print more nairas, I will have to print more nairas to be able to meet up with the demands of Nigeria. I don't think that will be a problem. My major problem is how are they going to be able to tackle those elitist funds that I think are in there, those funds that are stashed away, those corrupt funds, or those terrorism funds that are in one person hands or the other. Are they going to make sure that they don't find their way into the banking system and begin to operate as a normal account holder? And so that's one area they need to really look at. And that's why I'm saying that the security apparatus of government need to be up their game and begin to make sure that they follow up to know who is bringing this last chunk of money that we might see coming into the banking space. Where are they coming from? You have to look at the accounts, and those are simple variables. And if you see it, I think the banks also need to be up to it. You raise the right flag, and then we are able to investigate it.
Yes.
It's going to be a win-win situation for the government if they work hand in hand with the security agents. I'm sure this is another means of fighting corruption. This also will be another means of fighting insecurity. And also this could be a game changer in vote buying that we normally experience in Nigeria for some while, because we are going to see a lot of these politicians begin to scramble for the new currency. That is what I think they should be talking about with this politician that will want this card be able to get it as when they want to get it. And is another major issue that the bank may have to deal with.
All right, and CBN has said it's going to be on a first-come, first-served basis, and we're going to see how things play out. 6 more weeks thereabouts to see the rollout of the new Naira for the 200, 500, and 1,000. Mukhtar Mohammed, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Tolulope.
And it is an interesting policy. The responses and the feedback on social media in particular and on the streets of Nigeria have been varied. And don't forget, we'll definitely be bringing you what Nigerians are saying about this. Is this the right time? Is this the right way? Maybe they can have some answers for us.